heist that went completely unnoticed under the cover of darkness. Insane shit. And again, even a retired LAPD detective said a place like this has systems that are very sophisticated to protect the facilities. There's cameras galore, very sensitive alarms that pick up movement, sensors that pick up movement. And to finally get access to the safe, you need an access code, a passcode to get in there. And who's going to know that? So obviously, a manhunt has been issued for the people, A, that broke into the facility and stole the money, but I'm not doubting that there's obviously the people that are working at this facility who are also completely being monitored right now and are slowly being put into a game of corporate Among Us to figure out who the fuck got 30 million gone. Now, obviously, do I think that this money is truly going to be gone for Garda? I don't imagine, just because obviously companies like this, they have insurance, so it's not like totally out of the world that they don't have access to it, or they won't have access to it. Obviously, I'm sure that there's going to be some reparation, at least when it comes to this money. Now, this threw me down a little bit of a micro hole, alright? Obviously, a bit of the actual assessments from people initially when it came out that maybe instead of like a money facility, this could have been like a weed business, because apparently they have like cannabis banking in California, but because weed is not federally legal, the operation of them using money around the state could be a bit of an issue. But obviously that speculation got dropped because it ended up actually being the Garda facility. So again, banks will work with a lot of these organizations. Cash just, gets put into these buildings to be moved around. And sometimes it's for completely legitimate businesses, and sometimes it could be for these, weirdly legitimate businesses where they're illegal in one state, but obviously not recognized in another. And there are banks in California that exist for things like, cannabis banking, right? Where these guys literally exist to allow people in the state to operate financial services, but obviously they say major financial institutions refuse to serve cannabis businesses because of that federal prohibition. So again, it's a pretty big issue over there, but this wasn't anywhere related. The other thing that I saw shared around on Reddit was the fact that one person showed this flight map, it seemed, of a plane that was just basically flying around this general location. And of course, the plane was so close it had no call sign, but because the actual facility was right around here where I'm pointing my mouse, somebody was speculating that the actual criminals jumped from this and parachuted all the way here. Now obviously this was debunked pretty quickly by a Redditor, because obviously they had said that if you look into the situation, the plane was doing circles near the port of Los Angeles before heading up to the valley and flying what appears to be a pretty normal approach into WHP. In fact, if you go back even further, you can track what is most likely doing the same target circles over South Gate and flying near downtown Los Angeles. The target is a TISB target, so it's not going to keep the same hex and will drop from time to time and then reappear, and hence why you won't get a continuous single flight track. With that said, it's most likely a law enforcement helicopter. So again, people were speculating, and I kind of wanted to cover some of the most interesting conspiracy theories in this situation. Now, this threw me down a bit of a loop when it came to the state of California. Apparently, this state is filled with some of the most insane heisters you could imagine, okay? People that apparently get away with crimes, and crimes that are pretty, I guess you could say, jaw-droppingly wild to witness. 2 years ago, there was a $100 million jewelry heist on a Brinks truck that actually ended up happening in less than 30 minutes. If it sounds like it's out of a movie, it probably should be. Of course, the idea over here is last year in a Brinks tractor trailer that was headed from the Bay Area to Pasadena with about $100 million worth of actual merchandise on board, thieves had broken in and stolen all the jewels out there. In fact, there's actually body cam footage you can watch of this as well. And again, this is insane because the people that were behind this heist are also not captured. They're still very much at large. So obviously, you got the feds involved, you got the LA County cops involved. It's a wild scenario. And even the figure is a bit questionable as well. Like, some people actually lowball it to as low as $10 million, and some go up to like $100 million. I'm not entirely sure how these ranges, why this range is so big, but regardless, it's a lot of money that is being taken from national security as well. So again, the people haven't been caught, but it's one of those wild situations, right? And of course, if you're reading into, like, again, the journalist here, Rob reports that the vehicle contained pieces from several different jewelers. Brinks has said that the late-night theft took place while one driver was asleep in the vehicle's sleeping berth, and while the other was inside a Lebec, California truck stop getting food. It all took place within a 27-minute window of time. And again, people will obviously sit down and immediately wonder if there may not have been an inside job component to it as well. Again, that's for cops to truly decide. Now, I feel like if you're an armored truck driver in the state of California, ooh boy, you're gonna at least witness one robbery in your life. California, again, just attracts some of the wildest heist stories you can imagine, okay? Again, this is one called the Dunbar Armored Robbery back in 1997, okay, September 12th of that year. In downtown LA, $18.9 million, so around $35 million today, was actually robbed. And this was orchestrated by a few individuals who apparently had almost left no evidence. And of course, were only implicated 2 years after the robbery when they accidentally gave a real estate broker a stack of banknotes that were still secured in their original currency straps. And that broker obviously contacted the police and notified them of it, right? And in this case, the actual robbery was an inside job because the police realized when they actually looked into the robber here, okay, who was Alan Pace III, they'd actually ended up being fired. They couldn't find anything, but basically what they actually looked into, and when they looked into the money that they had recently acquired, obviously then they started piecing together the situation, and they found out, oh shit, they were able to buy some crazy stuff, and they ended up stealing like what, $18.9 million from like robbery 2 years ago? Wild stuff, man. But yeah, there's been a robbery, a cash heist that happened in the state of California. It might be the state's largest cash heist in U.S. history. So, ladies and gentlemen, wild stuff, man. Honestly, would never even expect to see it, but yes, there are still heists happening in the year 2024. Now, is the state of California or the U.S. government, the FBI, going to find these people? That is yet to be determined. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and I wanted to share something I found pretty goddamn interesting with you. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like it, I am out.
What's going on, everybody? Mortem here. This time
I think this is a Mortem brag video, and I don't want to watch it. I'm terribly sorry. I like Mortismo, but I don't like bragging. It's nice to be proud of your work, but God damn it. Maybe that's better, actually. I didn't do a lot of looting that I don't need to lose. Honestly, junk doesn't really serve me very much. Actually, it's kind of interesting. They built the whole item system kind of interesting. Yeah, I like this base. I'm gonna keep this base. It's easy to get to. It's easy to understand. Okay, I've got everything here. I'm done with that. I'm gonna go level now. Go up to see Comrade, and I think I'll go to the top of... Well, I don't know. A new camp might be kind of bad, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should just go to Castle Javal as I've been doing. And kill Bad Eyes, and... well, primarily Ice Elementals and Dark Elementals, and... demons on the way to orcs, pretty much. Orcs. I was flagged for a long time Friday night. I didn't get a party. And kind of annoying. I began to realize that I might not get one past 66 until I unlock Sky. I don't really want to.
Covering this subject like 6 months ago, and it remains true to this day and actually is only increasing in frequency. For some reason, it feels like there's been a rise in police
Thank you,
pursuits
Penguin Zero, for the
involving
excellent content
heavy
stream. I'd like to sub to
machinery.
your channels and videos.
Vehicles that you'd never expect to ever be involved in a high-speed pursuit have, for some reason, been constantly involved in high-speed pursuits. It's like something out of the Looney Tunes. I have no idea why. I'm sure not even God has an explanation, but I'm sure he's equally as entertained as I am by it, because it is comical watching some of these. They're very low-speed pursuits. Like, the top speed for a lot of these machines is like 15, maybe 30. And I'm talking, you're seeing police pursuits of them trying to chase down a steamroller, a forklift, a bulldozer.
Oh, I
a
love those.
killdozer,
Yeah, I
a
love
front
those.
Loader, a side loader, a back loader, a chode loader. Like, you name it. If it's got 4 wheels and weighs 50 tons, you can find a police chase with it over the last 6 months. It's happening all the time now. So I saw a front loader police pursuit the other day where one of the cops is talking to a worker and he's, asking how fast do these puppies go, and he says it can get up to like 30. He's like, 30. Zoinks. It's worse than I thought. Get in your front loader and help us chase this guy down. So he recruits this completely normal civilian who's just working, like he's at his job, tells him to get into his front loader so that way he can help chase down the bad guy's front loader. It's so weird. It's like a kaiju movie where they recruit another monster to engage with it. Like, it's for no reason other than, I guess, good cinema. I have no idea. But I have to show you that clip. Also, I have to show you this other clip that I saw today about a guy who was trying to evade police, and he hid behind a car in like the most obvious position imaginable. And yet the cops didn't find him for like over a minute. They swarmed the area around him and just kept walking right by. It's like all of those scenes in a movie that get criticized when it's a stealth section where the good guys trying to like take cover and like all the bad guys walk right by them and for some reason never see them. Or like in a video game when the AI keeps like running right by the bush that you're peeking out of even though like you're in plain sight, for some reason they're not alerted. Like, I now start to believe those things after seeing this clip. Like, that's no longer unbelievable to me because of what I've just witnessed with this guy's hiding spot. Oh yeah, I kept getting tagged in this all afternoon. It says, bro was 1 second away from losing 4 stars in GTA. I'm guessing it's like a really weird pursuit. I haven't watched it yet, but this must be poppin'. And it's been a little while since I've seen an interesting pursuit. That's not true. We saw the one the other day with the guy in the bulldozer, where the police told another guy in like a front loader to chase him down. Let's see if this beats that.
And then you can see it right there, the suspect trying to get into somebody's property or
This is like the
trying
end of
to
the pursuit,
hide,
it seems,
but
though.
doing a very, very poor job of it right there. LAPD coming to a stop. Yo, come on, guys, he's right there. The officer's running right by him.
That's cute.
They're going right by him. I'm sorry, Andrew, talking on OG.
And admittedly, from this angle, I wouldn't have thought to check behind that car either. I'd probably just run straight up there like an NPC too, to be honest.
Oh my goodness, I just feel so bad for those officers.
Oh, true, yeah,
making
this
their
is the
way
news
back
chopper,
now.
isn't it?
It's the blue car. There we go. Somebody's getting the information. Somebody's got to be getting the information. Keep coming around, Edge. Keep coming around. Keep coming around. That suspect.
Oh, he's gone prone.
We're watching this live, and you have to understand that these officers, they don't know what the information that we know. But again, that LAPD helicopter just arriving.
Holy shit, I'm never going to criticize video game AI ever again. Oh wait, no, he's absolutely going to see him.
Information. There you go. There you go. And now
Busted.
that suspect
Yeah, he
going
pointed
into
at him.
custody. Wow. Wow.
Or not.
They haven't
Does
seen
he-
him yet.
Oh.
This is unbelievable. There we go. Oh my gosh.
What was this? Wait, what? Did this guy not see him? He's literally looking at him. Was he not alerted? What the fuck is his field of vision?
Be getting that information.
He even,
There
like,
you go.
points at him, doesn't
there
he?
You go. And now that suspect going into custody. Wow.
Maybe, did he de-aggro or something? How did this happen? He looked at him, pointed at him, he's like, ah, it must be behind this gate. Shit, if only we could get through.
They
Well, no, he's like literally pointing. You know, he must know. Why is he tugging on the gate? He pointed at him twice.
haven't seen him yet. This is
They haven't seen him
And
yet.
then this guy points at him, he's like, oh yeah, you're right. They're playing on 30 FOV. I guess so. He's behind a tire too, partially out of view. That's what I was thinking. So I think his biggest mistake, if I was to, I don't know, be a criminal evading arrest tactician expert, I think his biggest mistake was going prone. He spread out his surface area, which made it a little easier to see him. I think that's the only reason he got caught, because this guy looked under the car and must have seen at least a piece of him. And then when they went to the gate, like maybe if he was still just crouching there, he wouldn't have noticed. Perhaps. What he needed was one of those like ninjutsu smoke bombs. If he just had one of those in his pouch, like if he had put one of those in his loadout, he would have popped one right here, and he would have been fine.
Yep, just up and over the gate and gone. Yep. And they're like, smoke, I can't see. He'll shoot us, don't do anything. Yep, and then you just run.
Disgruntled former employee hijacks front loader and leads police on a slow-speed chase. Why would they ask someone to try and stop him in another bulldozer? That just sounds like they were doing that for fun. How would that possibly give them any advantage?
Stop. Stop.
Oh shit, he's hitting the turbojets.
Hey!
Stop.
Activating
Stop.
afterburners.
Stop. Why? Why would you run in a four-wheeler tractor? Hey, stop. Why would you
I mean,
run
if you gave it
from
a
that?
light jog, you could catch up.
He's gonna go out the main road.
Yeah, I mean, like, what would you do? I mean,
One of those things? How fast is it?
What?
They can get up to probably about 30.
30?
Got that. Quick.
That heavy equipment can get up to 30? And also, why is he telling him to get in his heavy machine?
why
I
would the
still don't
city
understand the
run in
strategic
that?
importance of that.
Why would you run in that thing? You're so stupid. What I mean, you thought it was funny. You knew you were going to jail, so
Oh god,
you made it a funny thing.
let them fight.
Oh my
He's
god!
trying to hit him with a pit
They
maneuver
brought
there with the bucket
another
on it.
one. They brought another one to stop him. Oh
Why
my
did he
god!
Why did he tell him to get in the other bulldozer?
Trying to
What was
pit
the point?
maneuver him and
Or
the other
not
bulldozer.
front loader.
Why are you guys fighting with
Guys, maybe flip it
bulldozers? It's like watching a bunch of little boys in a sandbox, and it's like boom, boom, boom. I banged your fucking stupid. I banged your stupid. I banged your stupid. Whatever, the caterpillar. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Well, yeah. Well, I have another caterpillar, and it bangs your caterpillar from behind. Oh no, you didn't. Yes, I did. Oh yeah. Well, my cop cars, I've got 8 of them, and outdoes your fucking caterpillar anyway, Mikey. No, it doesn't.
There's like a scene
Except
out of God.
except it's real dudes and real criminals. They're all like playing in the sandbox basically. Except when the game's over, one of them loses their freedom and then is stuck in a box for 10 years. Yeah, I kind of stole a caterpillar, and at that point I knew it was a troll, so I just ran and I trolled him, and I took some pictures and video, and I just ran for a while because I knew they were going to put me in jail for a while. So I figured I'd make it interesting, I figured if they're going to put me in a jail for a long time, might as well give them something to do. And sure enough, they tried to pit maneuver me. They tried to pit me. It'd be funny if you got a mistrial because of the way that the cops hurt you when they caught you, which would be kind of funny. So you got to kind of wonder if maybe that's what's on his mind a little bit, because you got to kind of wonder in the background. You're like, I wonder if I can catch a technicality. I wonder if I can catch some kind of mistrial. What if they overstep their boundaries and kill somebody on the way to get me? And then the community's so angry at the cop for killing someone else other than me, and I just eventually just surrender. I look like the cop looks like the bad guy. Maybe they give me the mistrial and say, hey, the only reason that person was killed is they were chasing me. I was only running because the cop looked like he wanted to kill me. I ran because the cop wanted. I ran because the cop thought. I ran because the cop looked like he was going to kill me. And that's a good enough excuse to be like, yeah, I just ran for my life. It's not my fault that the cop killed someone, and it's not really, is it? It's not really. The cop runs over and kills somebody in the other caterpillar, right? And so maybe you get a mistrial, You gotta kind of wonder if that's what's in this guy's mind, because it's kind of what's in my mind as I watch it. Because what if a cop, like maybe the cop like squashes a fucking like a Rolls Royce or something like that, right? And the caterpillar trying to chase you, or God forbid, kills somebody. And they just, at that point, the cop becomes the enemy in this case because he was crazy chasing him in a caterpillar when they've got pig choppers and cars that are like, what? I mean, what is a cop car compared to this piece of shit caterpillar? Cop car does 140 or something like that. The caterpillar does 30. So, like, who's gonna win here? The cop cars or the Caterpillar? Eventually that thing runs out of gas. If he plows into things, it sucks, but I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't really stop him from doing that. You can't, and so eventually, maybe the cop makes a mistake. And so when the criminal goes to court, he hires a savvy lawyer who's like, yeah, I think the cop kind of fucked up here. And then they're like, I want a mistrial because this guy tried to kill my client. You got to kind of wonder if the criminal's kind of baiting the cop to do something incredibly fucking stupid like kill someone. There's something so inherently fucking evil in it. So just malignant, you know? That you got to kind of wonder if he's trying to bait out a mistrial on his case. Because I wonder sometimes if that's what's on their mind. You see something crazy like this and you're like, I wonder if they just declare a mistrial in this case just based off how crazy the cops act. And I wonder maybe if that's actually a valid point, if maybe that's what we're actually looking at here, is a master criminal adept at sort of drawing attention to what the cops are doing as opposed to him, you know? And that is just gobsmacking to me. They're like all little boys, and they're shitty little let's not go to space, let's just kill each other down here vibe. And they're all out there on the road, and they're crazy, and I swear to God, most of them are drunk and high all the time. And like, and they steal the Caterpillar, but they're shallow, like they're trying to pull like a Bill Doltreve and try to get like an insanity case, I think. Off some other crime. You got to kind of wonder what else he's guilty of, and so he's trying to pull like some other insanity crime and get off based on that. And maybe he sweeps all of the charges into a fucking one fell. The court handles the case like it's a whole battery of cases, right? And you say to all of them, "I'm insane. The fact that I stole a Caterpillar and just defied you for 3 hours is proof of it. I'm crazy. I wasn't in my right mind. You chased me and tried to kill me. It's not my fault. You hurt someone or something like that, or you did all this property damage. It wasn't my fault that you did that, etc., etc." And they're like, "Wow, you're going with the insanity defense?" Yeah, no normal man runs in a Caterpillar that goes 30 miles an hour for like 3-5 hours, something like that. That's obviously the cry of help of a rather cracked person who just isn't really thinking about what the consequences might be, how long they might actually be in jail. Because if it's like 8 or 10 charges, you'd be surprised. I bet they make that like 50-60 years of that stick. You'd be surprised how bad something like this could be. So you wonder sometimes if they're like, well, maybe I get away, maybe the cop fucks up and they give me a mistrial, maybe, you got to be thinking as the driver in the Caterpillar, you got to be thinking like, okay, what's the play here? It's kind of like a movie, and you have like some nutty asshole cop after you, and you're like, what are the chances he fucks up and the community just lets me off on a get out of jail free card because the cop just over pushes his envelope. He like pushes the envelope and he just pushes on the whole community, this terrible chase. And what if that gets the criminal off? It would be a really fucking good movie. I would like to write a movie about a car chase where the guy gets a mistrial because he's baiting the cops so bad. And something like the Caterpillar, it's actually like the shit writes itself. And the whole thing is about sort of like this chance of a mistrial if the cop acts like a movie star and chases you like this. You got to kind of wonder, do they slap the cop? Do they let the other guy go on a mistrial? Like what happens, you know? Now, it appears that they're now playing with the Caterpillars with each other in the middle of the road, and it's like got kind of sexual now.
The cops are just having fun. Flip!
And now they're just like having fun with it. They're like, oh my god.
Fucking flip him! Yeah!
Flip him. Yeah!
Flip him! Nice.
Flip him, nice. Get this asshole.
I wonder if that's textbook. They teach you that at the police academy?
To flip him with another fucking Caterpillar.
When engaging in a slow-speed pursuit with a front loader, try and find an equal front loader to try and flip it over or something.
There's a crazy guy. There's a crazy guy loose in the neighborhood. You gotta go get him. You gotta go get him. Do whatever, anything it costs. Yeah, the mayor calls the cops on the phone, and he's like, "Catch this guy. I don't care. Whatever you have to do, do it. I'll back you. Get him. Shoot him. It doesn't matter. Stop this guy. There's a crazy guy with a caterpillar running loose in a kid's neighborhood, and we gotta get him out of there. We gotta get him out of there. You gotta shoot him or something." The mayor calls, and the cops are like, all right, I'm gonna shoot him, relax. And then they were like, we don't need to shoot this guy, he's unarmed. So we're just gonna flip the caterpillar, and it'll do a bunch of damage, and the mayor's like, fine, do it. And the whole thing plays out kind of like, man, it's like little boys playing at the sandbox who have gotten out of hand, and one of them's hurt one another. And it's just so stupid. It's like, can't we go to space and get away from this stupid ass shit?
I have no idea. That guy just
I'd
peeled
way
out and
rather
said,
see these people on like some kind of cool colony journey to some planet they'd never been to, and they're all gung ho and they're working with each other, and everybody eats and everybody sleeps, and you work 8 hours a day, but everybody loves you. You get good support from the community, and your job doesn't really pay you, but it like helps you work towards this crazy end goal where you establish this colony where you can just have like 1,000 acres to yourself because it's a new planet and no one cares. And so you're thinking about that. You're like, I call Sky Catland. I call Sky Catland. It's this 4,000 acre stretch on the northwest side of the planet's butthole, and it's kind of cold down there. Cause stay away from me. I'm in winter. Stay away from me. I'm in snow. Don't come to snow, you bitch ass nakeds that come to my planet new. All the new people that come to the planet, they don't come to snow because nobody has any money, right? But I own Sky Catland on the new planet that we all went to, and it's like I own 1,000 acres, and I'm set up in the middle of it with a big bunker, and and I brought a whole bunch of people to help me build it, and in return their families can live there for the rest of eternity, and I'll never charge them rent, and I'll never make them pay anything. They can always eat, and they can always just jack off and play video games for the rest of their lives or whatever. If we all go to Sky Catland on a new planet, and we stay away from these monkeys that want to play with each other's dicks and with caterpillars and sup up each other's butts and around the corner with their really dumb bullshit between cops and criminals and playing in the sandbox, but actually with actual crazy heavy loader tools and stuff. You got to kind of look at it from the women's perspective. They look and they see this stupid shit, and they're like, oh man, imagine if there was no men on the planet. There wouldn't be this stupid ass shit of two dudes squaring off with caterpillars in the middle of town, like some kind of goddamn demented idiot, masculinity filled, jack off fucking, just straight up just jack off parade. It's like a jack-off parade. I don't really have another fucking phrase for this kind of thing. Both the criminals and the cops all of them were the entire thing was a jack-off parade. It was a jack-off parade filled with like caterpillar violence. And the whole thing is so dumb on a major level that I just want to go to Sky Catland on a new planet and get away from the dumb monkeys before they drop shit bombs on us. You got to get away from the stupid. And my solution to this is just to chain all this energy and have it be sort of inner space where you just you go to a bunker somewhere, and everybody's like, all right, build the spaceship, we're leaving the planet. And then you build the spaceship and you leave the planet, and you're just out there in space, and you have you have a geo set up, you have a farm geo set up in your space station out there, and you don't really want to come back down to the planet, and you have enough food and water set up in a cyclical manner. You have corn and food and soy and water, and that's self-renewing and stuff. And I don't know how you would make the water. The water's kind of the hard part. But you would you stay up on the space station, and you would have these specialized craft that are designed to go down to the ocean surface or a lake surface and just suck up 600,000 gallons of water and then shoot back up to the spacecraft again, or to the space station again, or something like that. And I'd be like, all right, well, that's what we're working towards for the next 40 years. Instead of these idiots beating the shit out of each other with with caterpillars in the streets, because they've all gone crazy on boredom, and they're all stupid, and they're all drunk. I'm convinced they're all drunk and high. And you're like, God damn it.
And he just left. and then
It's
started doing
it's
little.
the idiocracy now, except all the idiots have caterpillars, I guess. So you got to kind of wonder how scary that is on a destruction like level. Like all the idiots have caterpillars now. So you're kind of like, oh man, are we about to see like a really crazy, like meched out, like nutty thing where people with drones and caterpillars and stuff can like kill a whole lot of people and anybody else who doesn't have stuff like that can't? And it's like kind of nuts that we're all about to have like a crazy caterpillar fight. Because that's kind of what that kind of looks like right there. It looked like somebody kind of making a Sigourney Weaver aliens-esque standoff with the pigs in kind of like a sort of a slow battle suit. And he's just sort of baiting the pigs to give him a mistrial, sort of. And the whole thing is so demented that it was noteworthy.
Donuts. That is until this vigilante came into the equation.
It's the pigs! Run the caterpillar around town till it's out of gas. It's the pigs.
I like the way he enters too.
The whole shit plays out like cowboys in India, like or whatever. I'm sorry, that's sort of racist. It's like cowboys. What is it? It's like well, it is. It's like cowboys and Indians on the playground, except for it's cops versus the idiot with like caterpillars edition. Caterpillars edition. Caterpillars edition. Caterpillars edition. I don't know. God damn it. I think about how stupid we're getting.
Just
I think about how long I wait to see my inner circle here. I'm going to see my inner circle here in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait to see them because I know that they're like 2 or 3 levels higher intelligence. Stuff like this just doesn't come up with them because there's just higher intelligence people. This kind of stuff is like their idea of a nightmare. You just wouldn't waste your time like this on either side of this. You just wouldn't. The amount of manpower and time and damage you probably did.
that guy's getting a raise for this one.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
the cop flipping him? No.
Shit, I'm actually worried for this guy's job security.
Yeah, I'm worried about this
Maybe
for this guy's job security too.
They come after him next, like vigilantism or something, and they slap him with a fine.
Yep.
And they told him to do it.
They told him
You
to
see
do
the
it.
video of the thief disguised as a trash bag? Yeah, he's a copycat criminal. I saw. This guy just stole a page out of the playbook from the guy who did this exact same thing with the traffic cone. I mean, it could even be the same culprit, I suppose. We don't have any DNA evidence to link them. Toy Story crime? Yeah, basically. Same technique, everything. They must have trained at the same dojo.
It's brilliant, though. It's brilliant. You can't see who it is on that camera. It's brilliant. It works. It's significantly smarter than your average criminal. He knows the camera's there, but he knows this Mick Richer is ordered a PlayStation game or something, and he's coming up, and he's just like, totally avoiding the camera. Oh my god.
Al Ghul trained them in the art of package theft. Prop hunt. Yeah, well, kind of.
Ra's al Ghul teaching
It's
the art of
unironically not the
Yeah.
worst plan ever.
It's not. It's actually very well
Bro's
thought out,
not
and
Solid
I respect
Snake.
it. I respect it.
It's been a little while since I've gone over some text messages, and I still giggle at them to myself from
Oh,
time
you
to time.
put you put me on a different vibe here. Apple's $3,500 Nightmare by Eddie Burback. Thank you so much for your excellent content for my stream. I don't know Eddie Burback, but he's got 1.82 million. I'm gonna assume he's good. I'm gonna pop over and
Hi,
run.
I'm a
Eddie Burback.
3D avatar representing the human Eddie Burback. Today I can talk to you thanks to the powerful magic of Apple's new product.
The Apple Vision Pro.
Apple Vision Pro headset.
People are talking about it. It is called Apple Vision Pro. It involves a
Vision
term you
Pro.
may not be
Oh my
familiar
God.
with, spatial computing.
It's $3,500.
Okay, I'm gonna get off this
Do you
game
think
now.
this is something that the average person will be able to afford?
I don't know. So,
I don't
why do you
know.
need this?
In February of 2024, Apple released their newest product, the Apple Vision Pro, to the public. The Pro is a headset that recreates your surroundings with its cameras, allowing you to use its computing power while seeing the world in front of you. While connecting to your Apple phone and computer, it's being pitched as the next step in our ever-evolving connection with technology.
The era of spatial computing is here.
But some see its $3,500 price tag, bulky ski goggle appearance, and overall pitch as something to be disregarded and laughed at. It's also being criticized as yet another way to disconnect people from reality.
This is not about isolation. This is about connection.
So are we seeing an early version of an advancement like the smartphone? Or is this just another expensive toy for rich tech bros? Back in February, I decided to find out for myself. Buying the Vision Pros was a bit harder of a process than I initially thought it would be. Instead of just adding to my cart, filling out my card info, and watching $3,500 vanish into thin air, Apple first asked me to scan my head with my phone. To scan my face, oop, there's a smudge on my screen, hold on. To scan my face, I had to go through a process.
I don't care about this. Sorry. I don't value Apple, and I don't really care about Apple News. Uh-oh. Yeah, but no. Is the Las Vegas Sphere worth it? No. No, I don't think so. We're going to go back. No, it doesn't. No. Fallout development timeline. Let's listen to him, I guess. Here's Timothy Kane with Fallout development timeline.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Tim. Today, I want to do the Fallout development timeline. I've been putting together notes. I've mentioned this before about the making of Fallout, and I think I've created a pretty definitive timeline here. So, it's kind of long. It's probably going to be kind of long. There are a few pictures, but not a lot. So, if you need to go get coffee, or you need to go to the bathroom, do it now. Don't pause me later. I'll know if you pause me. But, this is what I put together from probably like 5 years of notes, maybe a little more. Let me start a little pre-Fallout, which is important. In 1991, I started making computer tools for GURPS. I've talked about this. I made a star system generator. I made a GURPS character editor. These are all things that I just did for fun on my own time because I played GURPS and I like GURPS. I actually sent the star system generator to Steve Jackson Games, and they allowed me to use the license. So I put it online and people could download it and have fun with it. I think it's still available somewhere if you want to look for it. That was 91. Now jump to middle of 93. Rags to Riches just shipped. That's my second game I made at Interplay. After it shipped, I was kind of assigned to do different things.
I remember Rags to Riches. Yeah, it was
Here and
good.
there. I made installers for a lot of games. I did work on Stonekeep and a few other games that were being done. But I also worked on engines. I made 3 different engines. A voxel engine that was interesting, but I'm not sure what I would have done with it. Think Minecraft. Then I made a 3D engine. It was super slow. And then I made an isometric 2D sprite engine. That's what would turn into Fallout. So now we can actually get up to talking about the making of Fallout. So in early 94, Interplay announced at a company meeting they were looking for a tabletop RPG to license. I was super excited and I suggested GURPS. And I was playing with other people, on the Thursday night thing, and we were getting together and playing GURPS already. And I think that helped the suggestion win over the only other proposal I heard of, which was Earth Dawn. So I already had a way of getting hold of Steve Jackson Games, so I mailed them. In early March of 1994, Steve Jackson visited the studio in person. He came to Interplay. We showed him an early version of the game, basically the isometric 2D engine I had, and the GURPS character editor. We went to lunch at Disneyland at Club 33, which is later where I'd take the Fallout team when we shipped. And then that evening we sat down and played Illuminati, the Steve Jackson card game. That was really interesting because at one point he and one of the Interplay
Steve
employees,
Jackson
Floyd
card
Grubb,
game.
got into a rules argument, and Floyd was right. That was interesting. Anyway, March 28th, 1994, I sent Steve Jackson all the latest Interplay titles to play. At this point, I'm not really sure when the contract got done. This is all goes on above my pay grade. Wasn't involved. However, the next note I have is June 13th, 1994. Tom Decker, Chris Taylor, and I responded to John M. Ford, the writer, his design for a non-linear time travel GURPS computer role-playing game. I don't have the notes on that, but apparently it was. I remember it was really wacky, and it was interesting time travel. I mean, trust me, that dinosaur time travel game I've talked about was also equally wacky. I forget exactly why we didn't go with it, but it was a little early. We hadn't even decided what genre we wanted to do. In August 24th, 1994, I made the first wish list for the project. I wanted Chris Taylor and Scott Campbell to come on as designers. I wanted Jason Taylor to do all the scripts, design, and implementation. I wanted Jesse Reynolds as an extra programmer. And as lead artist, I wrote Spencer Kite. Spencer was another artist. I hadn't worked with him, but I think he was on Stone Keep. He'd come and play GURPS. He was the one who played the really overweight magic user that they fled and let the fire elemental eat. Anyway, I don't know what happened to that because I didn't have a team yet. I found a note in September 9th, 1994. The art list is still generic fantasy. We hadn't decided on a genre. It had things like crossbows and swords and medieval armor and very generic environments like forests and desert and grasslands and caves. So in the fall of 94, I wanted to open the game development. Now I wasn't allowed to, so that's when I did I'm gonna say I'm having pizza in an empty conference room in the evening and anybody who wants to come by can do it. I was surprised at how few people came by, but turns out, in hindsight, I got very motivated people because they were willing to come on their own time to do this. During the second meeting, that's when we started to elaborate on that crazy dinosaur time travel setting, the one with spaceships and dinosaurs and wizards and religious cults. Several people liked it, but it was really complicated, so we cut it back to just an alien one. And we talked a lot about that setting on a future Earth that had been invaded by aliens. Humans were hiding in shelters all over the world. After discussion for that, and I think at this point is when I talked to Scott Campbell, because I'm like, I dreamed about these vaults after an apocalyptic war. We liked the destroyed Earth setting, but we weren't big fans of the aliens, so we went post-apocalyptic. I suggested we keep the vault idea because it let the player and the characters both were on the same page. They knew very little about what the world was like. On December 8th, 1994, it's the first mention of Junktown and that Jason Taylor and Jason Anderson were officially assigned to my team. So that was the team, me and the two Jasons. Tom Decker was removed from it because he already had so many other projects.
Thank you, Timothy Kane, for the excellent
Pavlich,
content from my stream. I've linked sub to your
he
channel.
did not have time to do another one. I think Tom had like 22, 24 product SKUs. So I was now a producer. Yes, you will notice that I got an extra title. There was no extra pay. Nothing like that. Just, hey, here's some extra responsibility for you. However, between the Jasons and I, we put together some prototype levels, like walking around on the map, some simple melee combat, opening containers and removing loot from it. One of those prototype levels is on the CD-ROM of Fallout. If you have it, it's in a folder called Demo. Someone named Gizmo Junk posted this video on YouTube, so you can kind of see what it's like. It's very primitive, but it's the sprite engine in its earliest form. January 2nd, 1995, we're now into 95, that's when I came up with my original idea for the Fallout story. I talk about it in this
Your skill has increased.
Called Original Intro Story. It's linked below. On May 22nd, 95, Alan Pavlich, the VP of Development, said he wanted voice actors in the game and asked me for a feasibility analysis. In June 12th, 95, the project was now official and had assigned team members, like I mentioned before. So Brian Fargo told me I had to start coming to the regular off-site producer meeting, as well as write a vision statement for the project. I wrote multiple vision statements, all of which he hated. It culminated in Chris Taylor writing one in January of '96 that I talked about.
Gotta change my
the
title
design
here.
video linked below. Meanwhile, back in '95, in June 21st, '95, it was confirmed we were going to do voice actors. Here's a picture of the people assigned to the project. This is mid-95. I'm not sure exactly when. Let's say summer 95. Left to right, it's Brian Frymuth, Leonard Barsky, Jesse Reynolds,
Sorry, guys.
me, Jason Taylor, Scott Campbell, who's seated, Jason Anderson, Michael Dean, and Fred Hatch. On August 2nd, the decision was made by people above me that this game would be Windows 95. And I have a little note saying Steve Jackson Games was not happy about that decision. However, I pointed out that because I was writing it all for GNOL, we could keep the DOS one as an extra SKU, and it wasn't a lot of extra work. It was a little extra work. August 16th, 95, Jesse Reynolds and I, we were switched over to Stonekeep to help it ship, so we lost some time. But that is when Scott Rodenheiser joined our project to do the clay heads for many of the NPCs. August 30th, 95, Chris Jones began the Windows 95 port of GNOL. He did it in 3 weeks, which made a Windows 95 version of the game to be immediately playable, and a full version was completed within 6 months. On September 6th, 95, Scott Campbell gave his 2-week notice. We talked about that in my chat with him. I started negotiating immediately to get Chris Taylor as soon as Stonekeep shipped. On September 3rd, 1995, we moved from the Fitch building to a new temporary building on Alton until we moved into our final place on Von Carmen. The team list was, because I had to, as a producer, I had to be responsible for the move. My team list was Leonard Barsky, Michael Dean, Jason Anderson, me, Fred Hatch, Jason Taylor, Jesse Reynolds, Chris Jones, Brian Frymuth, and Arlene Summers, who was a 2D artist. She did a lot of our button sprites. October 11th, 95, Helena Wickberg joined the team. The total size of the team was now 11 people. Marco Green was listed as my supervisor, not Fergus. Fergus was still a producer at that point. But GURPS was not part of his D&D division, so he supervised me separately. So I didn't go to his D&D director meetings. He and I just had office hours on there. November 13th, 95, we made a Fallout demo just for internal play. This is not a demo that we shipped in April of 97. Alan Pavlich thought it ran too slow. Fargo, though, loved it. He especially loved the death animations. I remember he called that out. We set our proposed ship date to be November 1996. January 15th, 96, I went to a pet store and bought a pet emperor scorpion that I named Spud and gifted it to the team as our team mascot. Spud lived under a little log in a fish tank in Fred Hatch's office. He dined on crickets that we caught around my house and the yard, or bought at the pet store. It was pretty gruesome. I think many of the artists looked at it. He might have been an inspiration for the Rad Scorpions. January 23rd, 1996, the current team was me, Fred, Jesse Reynolds, Chris Jones, Chris Taylor, Brian Frymuth, Leonard Barsky, Jason Anderson, Michael Dean, and Gary Plattner. So we gained someone and lost a couple other people. But then in January 29th, 96, Scott Everts and Nick Kesting joined. February 96, at an offsite producer meeting, that's when I gave the talk on how to manage a team effectively. There's a YouTube video, I'll link it below. January 13th, 96, we slipped our ship date to February 13th, 1997. We wouldn't make that one either. This was because we had to redo all the estimates to do 3D artwork. It was my first 3D game. It was taking a lot of extra time. Leonard tried to make up for it by putting in weekends of work, but even that couldn't make up for it. So we ended up saying there's no way we're shipped before the end of 96. We also started the GURPS Mac Fallout. There weren't any current plans for the project, but Weeze mentioned he wanted to hire a programmer to do it. Weeze is Bill Dugan. We called him Weeze back then. He was a Mac producer. So I told him as long as the programmer gets hired before April of 96, it should be doable. March 26, 96, Mark Morgan was hired to do ambient music. Great hire. May 10th, 96. Sometime between October of 95 and this date, Marco Green was removed as director and Ferg was the new director. The Mac version had been approved, but we still had no programmer. Chris DeSalvo, though, on his own time, over a weekend, made a Mac version of GNOL, so we could at least have a version that ran on the Mac. We made an E3 demo, interactive,
I gotta change my title, damn it.
It had 2 maps. It showed off most of the cool features like talking and bartering and killing people. and finding neat stuff. There was a mini adventure where the players asked to kill some rad scorpions in exchange for some items, and that was included for people to play the engine, play the demo, and then to test our script engine. July 25th, 96, we made an intro movie. It was modeled and rendering began on it. We tried to get the rights to I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire because we thought it fit the intro, and Fred Hatch started looking into the legal rights. Just so you know, didn't get them. We planned to enter the recording studio in a couple weeks. We brought in Marco Green to rewrite a lot of the dialogue that's going to be spoken. It turns out written dialogue can be really cool, but once it's spoken, it doesn't sound as good. He rewrote it in an amazing way and an amazing amount of time to make it sound good. I wrote at this point, the actual design and implementation of the map was going more slowly than anticipated. We built a demo for ECTS, which was a conference back then, and we prepared for Editor's Day, and we had a ton of delays for that. I wrote to marketing and said, look, I understand the need for these, but we need to schedule these from the beginning. You can't just keep throwing the requests for demos at me. Just so you know, they kept throwing requests for demos at me. I wrote that not only are our tasks to make the game becoming more complicated and need a lot more team communication, but my coding time had now dropped to about 60% of the time during the week. I was trying to make it up by coming in on the weekend, and it dropped way below half before the game shipped. Here is a picture, a group photo in middle of 96. Not 100% sure. I think it came from the webpage. August 21st, 1996, Fred is still working on getting the rights for the song. We wanted I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire, but we couldn't seem to get the rights without very extensive legal work and royalty payments. So we looked into other songs, and we really liked Maybe. I think Gary Plattner found that one. Fred and I met with Jamie Thomason on August 11th to do our voice directing. He could access incredible voice talent, and I wrote down, he's really professional and incredibly easy to work with, and he can get us some top name talent. So I submitted a budget, and it got approved. So we made a non-interactive demo, i.e. a movie, for CGW's anniversary CD-ROM. It holds GURPS up as a spiritual successor to Wasteland, GURPS Fallout. And that's how it appears on the CD. The speed at which the demo was put together is a credit to Fred Hatch. He did the whole thing. He picked scenes. He edited it, and video editing software back then was a mess. But he did it all. So, September 11th, 1996, voice recording began. Chris Taylor and Fred Hatch handled most of the studio work, going up there for every session, but I went up 1 week to watch David Warner, who was the ultimate evil for Time Bandits, do one of the characters. I also managed that same week to get a lot of interface into Starfleet Academy's sound code, so suddenly Fallout had sound. That was John Price's sound code, but I gave him Ganal to run Starfleet under, and so he gave me back his sound code, and boom, everybody's happy. Also, we finally got a programmer for the Fallout Mac version, Tim Hume, who I went to graduate school with, and he now worked at Obsidian. He began cleaning up Mac Ganal and the code, and he was going to share that code with Starfleet Academy so they could have a Mac version too. November 11th, 96, we got a lot of comments from QA on our pre-alpha, and we changed things around based on it. We scrapped instant combat. We used to have a button just saying resolve combat, and boom, it would run through really quickly without any graphics, the combat, and it would just end and show you what happened. We got rid of that, but we left in the auto combat. We had a button for just saying, hey, if you don't want to fight, the game will fight for you. I think we scrapped that. November 25th, 1996, we started making an alpha. That was ready on December 16th. We had the opening movie in. You could make a character. You could travel the world map. The music was in. Some sound effects were in. Several towns were in. The isometric sounds for them and some dungeons, caves, and a vault. Some cutscenes were in, and we even had one of the digitized heads working. So this was an alpha to just show off all these features. In early 97, I sent the opening cinematic to Steve Jackson Games.
That I did
this
not
opening
even
cinematic
pay.
was almost identical to the one that shipped. They did not like it. They had real trouble with some elements of it. I remember they didn't like the part where the guy was getting shot in the head. And they hated Vault Boy in no uncertain terms and demanded changes. This caused a lot of turmoil because keep in mind, we're now well past the original ship dates, and I've committed to a ship date that fall. So, February 17th, 1997, Steve Jackson showed up in person at Interplay. He's in the front lobby. Brian Fargo and Fergus Urquhart both declined to meet with him, so I talked to him. He and I talked for 6 hours. I'm not going to go into detail other than to say we didn't really reach any resolution. There were changes he really wanted that I was not empowered to agree to. So I'm sure it was frustrating for him that the people who were empowered to do it wouldn't talk to him, and he could only talk to me, but that's what it was. So, after he left, had a lot of meetings. They asked how hard it would be to remove GURPS. It was all modular. Removed it. My next note is March 3rd, 1997. Remember, Steve Jackson was there on February 17th. My next note is March 3rd, and it says, the game is entirely non-GURPS now and has been for over a week. Full conversion to special is thanks to Chris Taylor for having his fast design and also our modular code. That's the last I'm going to talk about. Also, here's a photo of the team in early 97. Later in March 17th, 97, I wrote, the interactive demo has been in QA for a week now. They've discovered a lot of bugs, but also suggestions for new features. April 15th, 97, we ran into E-Reg, that's electronic registration issues. It was supposed to be a drop-in. It was not a drop-in. Dan Spitzley, a programmer at Obsidian, and later I worked with him at, programmer at Interplay, and later I worked with him at Obsidian, saved the day and got E-Reg working. April 28th, 97, the interactive Windows 95 demo got put up on the web, the Interplay's website. The response was amazing. It was tremendous. It was overwhelmingly positive. Everybody was super excited. That same week, we got the license for Maybe. So we're going to put that in the game. April 12th, 97, the demo continued to do well. We stopped estimating the downloads. We didn't have an actual download timer or ticker. Also, many sites picked up the demo, but we knew it was past 100,000.
Oh, cool! I like that. Yeah.
And that doesn't even include the Mac version, which went up a week later. One thing that concerned me greatly, though, was at this point I received a suggestion from the Interplay UK office for significant changes to the game, to the violence level, to the presence of children. To which I responded, when a product is 8 weeks from being finished, we didn't ship in 8 weeks, and changes are coming in, this is not the time to look at the design for the first time. Our design documents have existed for over 2 years, but no one said anything until now. So I kind of yelled at people way over my station. Anyway, I think what we ended up doing, we made, we took kids out. No, we didn't. We left the kids in. I don't remember what we did, but I don't care. May 27th, 1997, I wrote good news and bad news. The good news is, thanks to Mark Harrison's implementation of sound compression using Paul Edelstein's sound compression code, Fallout now fits on one CD. Yes, I was about to go to the people above me and go, we need 2 CDs, and that was expensive. So we got Fallout to fit on 1 CD. The bad news was we were having tons of problems with scripts. They weren't loading and saving correctly. They were losing variables. They were corrupting memory. It was a mess. So June 24th, 97, I started sending 3 new Fallout revisions to QA instead of just the 1. I used to send them 1 a week because it took about 40 hours to play. Now I sent them 1 every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I wanted to get a faster turnaround on the bugs. We also sent a revision for each of the 3 major platforms, Windows 95, Mac, and DOS. This is when QA started coming in on the weekend, even though some of them weren't paid. They just came in because they wanted to play. Awesome group. Windows 95, they reported as very stable, and they can get to the end game. The Mac was reported as very stable, but has memory fragmentation. It can be played to the end game, barely, but it reported a lot of memory issues. DOS was very unstable. It crashed, memory fragmentation occurred. The extra crashes in DOS we traced to sound code. Basically, someone in QA mentioned, hey, if I disable sound in the DOS version, all the crashes go away. So we searched through and looked for that. Here's where things get interesting, because people often ask me, well, when did you ship? September 30th, 1997, a build was sent to the duplicator, but that day QA found a bug. We fixed it, we retested it, October 1st, 1997. The final build was made, tested, and sent to the duplicator. October 7th, 1997. Reports were coming in from people on the internet saying they've actually seen the game for sale in US stores. But it wasn't until October 9th, because we started going to stores ourselves. October 9th, 1997, team members on Fallout confirmed finding the game for sale in local game stores. However, despite people telling me they saw it early and us actually seeing it early, October 10th, 1997 was the official release of Fallout. Now, we did patches, Fallout 2 started, but I've already talked for 23 minutes, 24 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. Anyway, I hope you all like that. I will link videos below. That is as close to as I can come from my notes to a pretty definitive Fallout timeline. I hope you liked it.
I did. It was good. I liked it. It was amazing. Here is Budget Gaming, Scott the Waz. I've subbed and liked to your channel. This guy's 2 million subs.
Hey y'all, Scott here. Wow, it's almost like you don't need things to be happy. You don't need them to be fucking pissed either. So, I gave away my entire video game collection as a part of community service to get out of prison this month.
What?
Means not only do I no longer own Sonic Jam, I'm also no longer the guy who owns Sonic Jam. Now I gotta rebuild my game collection, and that's gonna be pricey. But that's okay, because I know a few tricks on how to get all the games I need for practically nothing. Video games are expensive.
Well, stop playing them like that!
You spend a full $70, then $35 to get the contents of the digital deluxe edition, which is only $100, but I want to get punished for not having the foresight to buy that version first. Of course, I need a PlayStation Plus subscription to B, so at this point, I need a persistent and stable internet connection. And a roof. So now I need a loan for a house, but I can't with this credit score. So how are we gonna raise it? Well, 5,000 Luther coins is a start. In the end, how much does it cost to play Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? My will to live. Modern game prices are out of control. They expect me to blow all my cash on every new release plus their downloadable content while making recurring payments to each subscription service every month and investing in accessories that are more expensive than the game console themselves. Right to, but still. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be this way. You can have just as much fun for free as you can with a modern game for $70. Gaming on a budget. Some may call this impossible. Playing video games is one of the most expensive hobbies you can have. To that I say, introducing Heroin. Yes, many video games are overpriced, but I personally believe in the grand scheme of things, if you play your cards right, this is a fairly large bang for your buck kind of medium. I mean, what? $30 for a digital 83-minute movie? And $20 to rent it? Bunch of cool bitches come up with these prices. But even then, there are so many cheap and or free options to watch movies. Tubi, Larceny, and the same applies to video games. If you set your mind to it, you can get by on damn near nothing, all while playing some of the greatest, longest lasting experiences of all time. Yeah, okay, but I still bought Suicide Squad. Now, I've already discussed gaming on a budget years ago, and by now I've already discussed gaming on a budget years ago, I mean, I f***ed up. Only 4 minutes spent on this topic, and one of those precious minutes being used to just gawk in a game store, and what was my conclusion? To buy Trivial Pursuit for Xbox? Yes, that was great advice on my part. Oh, you just got shot in the face? Well, don't do that! I mainly wanted to showcase that you can get a lot of entertainment out of something that costs very little. But there's so much more to discuss here. Like how... Ooh, I get out of here. They say the best things in life aren't free. Oh yeah? Well, what do they say about this? They say the best things in life aren't free. But that doesn't mean there aren't quality free gaming experiences out there. For one, we can milk the hell out of some demos. Who needs to buy Sonic Forces when we can just play the demo for free? Oh, it's almost as bad as the full thing. I'm looking to find the most bang for my buck demo. And with my buck being So my bang being, there's no bang. It's obvious I can't expect much, but I wanted to find demos that could either be played indefinitely or could practically be their own standalone games with how in-depth and long they are. But listen, if you need me to tell you what the best free things are before you buy them for free, you might as well ask me, should I eat this? Damn, dude.
Ugh.
It's so obvious.
Why do you have
what
those
to do
rotten
here. Just try it
bananas?
yourself. That's the
Disgusting.
point of a free demo. And
Did you
hey,
order a
if you're
prop?
that desperate for entertainment, why aren't you actually? God, I just need something to play for free. I said something, not some things. Scott's definitive list of free demos you can get just as much, if not more, out of than full games. First
Cool,
up,
yeah, I like it.
Puyo Tetris 2. I mean, really, any puzzle game like this can be played indefinitely. The options here are extremely limited. You're still playing Tetris and Puyo Puyo. Every time you play, it'll be a fresh experience, which means theoretically, you can just jam on this and you'd be set for life. Life sucks. Clubhouse Games Guest Pass. This may be primarily a free app for local wireless multiplayer. You only need one full copy of the game across multiple switches, but it comes with 4 full games on its own. And when it comes to this tabletop stuff, I mean, it's timeless. You aren't human if you get sick of this. Yep, you aren't human if you get sick of this. This is my way of reading out the frogs in the audience. The demo for Life is Strange 2 is a standalone experience titled The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which on its own is about an hour and a half long, and for a story-based game like this, I mean, there you go, free movie. But in addition, with the first 2 Life is Strange games being episodic, the first episodes of each are free. Well, that's the case for tons of these types of releases, so if you have no problem with cliffhangers.
That was truly sad. Thanks for your concern, Max Cop.
You're set! Capcom Arcade Stadium 1 and 2 follow this setup. Download them for free, and then you buy the classic arcade games you want, or just pick up the bundle featuring all of them. But in that initial free download, you get a full, original, old-school Capcom arcade humdinger. That's right, in Arcade Stadium 1, we get 1943 Battle of Midway, and in 2, we get Sansan. I know if this is free, what a point of currency to begin with. But hey, 2 retro arcade titles readily offered free of charge. You can't beat that. Unless you're not Sansan. Final Fantasy XIV Online is completely free until you hit level 70. There's no limit on where you can go in the game, how long you can play. Until you level up enough, you don't have to pay. Thank God I suck. But hey, RPG demos in general can be some of the most in-depth out there, with many bringing your progress over to the full game once you buy it. So I'd say on their own, they're not really all too milkable. I mean, are you really gonna infinitely replay the Octopath Traveler 2 demo? Are you really gonna play Sansan? This list here was mostly just for fun, considering how many actual games you can get for free these days. Especially if you don't mind free-to-play games. Some hate them, others hate them more. But you can't deny how successful this model can be for certain titles. Lowering the entry fee to just your integrity. Problem with these is most are not completely free. I mean, sometimes it's impossible to progress at all without forking over some cash. Some upgrades via microtransactions and what have you. And then if you're playing a free-to-play game on mobile, what, every 4 times you tap the screen, a new minute-long unskippable ad pops up, and it's like, oh great, after seeing this for the 80th time, fine, alright, I'll do something different and pick Swim Away quietly. There's definitely more than enough of this type of free content out there, and a lot of it can still be great fun. But it's so easy to find free-to-play games these days. Let's talk some purely free games. No asterisk, no microtransactions, no ads for better games, and we can find an unlimited supply over on the PC. By that I mean coolmathgames.com, but let's go a bit more traditional here. Street Fighter Cross Mega Man is an official PC game that's always been available for free. It started life as a fan game, but once Capcom caught wind of it and realized they needed something to celebrate Mega Man's anniversary, they made a deal with the developer and fully backed the project, which is simultaneously really cool and really fucking lame. I feel like Capcom published this for the greater good. It felt like they did it out of desperation. This was during a time in which Mega Man was in the slums. Multiple game cancellations and no new real title for years, but hey, look at the bright side. I've been angrier. So Street Fighter Cross Mega Man being a fan game retooled into something, anything Mega Man related for Capcom to pump out, it's a bit pathetic. But it's also a pretty good classic Mega Man experience, retailing for a whopping $3. And it's only on PC, but it costs nothing to download, much like the Elder Scrolls Arena and Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. That's right, the first two Elder Scrolls games are completely free on PC. These incredible, groundbreaking RPGs you can spend hundreds of hours in are just being given away. It makes no sense. Let's play them. Damn, they're just giving this away for free? Yeah, these you truly have to be devoted to get much out of. But if they are your thing, congratulations! Your debt matters not. But hey, if we want something a bit less archaic, the original version of Cave Story on PC has...
I missed one. What was it?
Damn, they're just giving this away for free? Yeah, these you truly have to be devoted to get much out of. But if they are your thing, congratulations! Your debt matters not. But hey, if we want something a bit less archaic, the original version of Cave Story on PC has always been free. Even after it received a Wii release in 2010 for $12, a Nintendo Switch release in 2017 for $30, the core game from 2004 is free. And you wouldn't know that looking at me. It's one of the most revered indie games of all time. And it's just there. I know some fans vastly prefer the original to any of these paid re-releases. You really can't go wrong here. Same goes for the original version of Spelunky, another indie darling. Problem is comparing this to the modern release. Damn. But see, that's the funny thing about Cave Story. It's the opposite. I'm paying more for less. Indie games are some of the most frequent freebies you can get. Oh, Minecraft back in its early days was a free download. But that's just the thing. It wasn't free forever. So sometimes you gotta act fast.
God damn it, I tried.
The Epic Games Store on PC. Some hate it, others hate it. But because of that, Epic Games has attempted week after week to offer premium titles for free at no cost to the user, other than using the Epic Games Store. Oh man, you have Guardians of the Galaxy? How much did it cost?
Nothing, but like...
Man! So those are just a handful of ways you can play games for free. Oh, that and stealing. Yeah, alright. I've been primarily talking about games that were officially released for free. Unless we want to open up a can of ew. I mean, who are we fooling here? You ask for games to play for free and I tell you don't your pants? Just Google Play Mario. Is it really your fault if you're playing an unauthorized free emulation of Mario 2 if it's this easy to do and Nintendo hasn't taken it down yet? I don't even have to download anything. This is all in a browser.
Yeah, so the concept of what free games are out there kind of falls apart when to find half of these in the first place, I have to Google play Sonic games for free. And what, I'm just supposed to ignore the thousands of results with the actual games and pretend that the free visual novel they released very profusely is a legitimate recommendation on how to play a Sonic game for free? With just a laptop, you can access so much free content. On dedicated video game consoles, most free titles are free to play, or they're free for a limited time. And honestly, if you want to know which ones are worth your time, why are you wasting your time listening to me? Just download whatever looks cool to you. So, let's focus on something else. Saving money by spending money.
Oh yeah, time to budget! I think I speak for every...
This video is another 45 minutes long.
When I say subscription services are far from exciting these days. Hell, I'd go as far to say I'd rather be happy than have a Peacock account. I have a Peacock account. But I think these services get out of hand when you're juggling multiple. If you
wrong
hone
with a
in on
Peacock
one in
account?
particular that's delivering
I
the
use
entertainment
Peacock.
you
It's
want,
good.
you can get a lot of value out of it. So, let's take a look at these, starting with Xbox Game Pass. And I already know this is a great deal because we can just keep buying Pop-Tarts and get a free week of this thing. You know what that means? We're crossing gluttony off the list! Xbox Game Pass has a few different options here. The cheapest being the core membership. For 10 bones a month, you get online multiplayer and a bit over 30 games you can download and play, which does change from time to time. This isn't a permanent list by any means, but it's obvious Microsoft intends
Yeah, we
to
haven't
always
looked
hit
at the
quality
Xbox list in
standard
a
of
while. Let's
Pretty
see.
good. A great variety here with indie games, simulation games, first-person shooters, online multiplayer titles, local multiplayer titles, RPGs, platformers, classic games, modern hits, the works. For only $10 a month, this is great. As a scam, $100 a year for access to a handful of titles. Access to. They aren't playable forever, and the lineup gets shaken up a few times a year. And with many of these games being priced at, oh man, 3 numbers, it really doesn't feel worth it. That is until you add up the value of all the games included, and it turns out this is actually hundreds of dollars in value. So yeah, it really does feel worth it, until you realize it really doesn't feel worth it. So I went on price charting websites and found the cheapest going rates of any games available via physical methods, and if they're digital only, the MSRP on the Xbox store. And yeah, even with many of these titles going for incredibly low prices, the sum of owning all of this is well over $400. But that's the thing. Owning all of this is well over $400. Keep in mind, you don't own anything with these services, and by owning the physical stuff, you can resell that. And the concept of all this being valued at over $400 makes me question, you really gonna play all this? Yeah, it's $100 a year for 30 plus games worth well over that, but are they really worth anything?
Look at this Game Pass, what's happening, right? It's like PC Game Pass, PC Game Pass, PC Game Pass. And that's what's happening. All 3 tabs are just an ad for PC Game Pass. See, 4, 5, 6, all of them are 6 PC Game Pass. Diablo 4 is here, don't care. It's still not gonna play it. Super Hot, Ark, Open Rose, Unleashed, Diablo 4, nope. Terra Invicta, Evil West, No More Heroes, Control. Control might be good. I've been curious about Control, but it's not worth the money. Yeah, kill this elemental. Go, go, go. Kill the elemental. Go, go, go. Tales of Arise hit Xbox, and that's kind of cool. I wouldn't mind playing some of these games for free with just the Xbox Game Pass. Resident Evil 3 might be good to play all the way through. Yeah, Tales of Arise. Bolt Gun. Yeah, I own Bolt Gun. Bolt Gun's a good game. I bought it. I need, Boo, I don't even like those games. America's Playground. Oh god. Does it move me to 60? That'd be funny if it did. I come in there naked and they're like, what the fuck?
you're not even gonna boot them up. I find that many of these subscription services are more about convenience than value. Like, just the concept that I could
God, are they on
play
me?
any of these
Oh,
games
no.
at a moment's
No, no,
notice
no.
is enough for me. And yes, Game Pass Core is how you get online multiplayer. So, these games are more so a bonus rather than the reason you buy into the service. But I'm just looking at this from the perspective of somebody who wants to get games on the cheap. But with Game Pass Core having such a small selection of titles, I'd recommend either
It's not
just
that good.
picking up the ones that interest you rather than paying an ongoing fee
Yeah.
or flat out biting the bullet on Game Pass Ultimate. Now this is more like it. Access to hundreds of games, some of which are brand new $70 releases, day and date on Game Pass. Well, that seems like a... I paid $200 a year to play $70 games before they cost $15 that very year. Here's some financial advice! Alright, so Game Pass does have a ton of value, but a lot of it depends on how varied your tastes are. Like maybe one day you're feeling Madden 22, and the next Madden 23. Oh, I know what I'm doing tomorrow. It all comes back to my original point of, if you're not gonna play a good chunk of these, why even bother? Make a checklist of all games available via Game Pass to see how many you're actually going to play. And if it's a decent amount, sure. Hell, if you can play through the games you want to play through in 2 weeks, it'll only cost you $1. And if this is your only method of playing games, you don't want to buy anything else, just Game Pass, $200 a year isn't horrible for what can amount to hundreds of hours of
Oh
entertainment.
god, what I got
Keep in
to?
mind,
No,
many of these
no.
titles
Oh.
are frankly worthless. Used game stores are practically giving them away, so why play them under a monthly
Oh
subscription?
god, the
fee
tiger went
that's
away.
17 times more expensive than just a one and done purchase. Well, because you get all these
Kill
other
him.
games, and it's so convenient. Here, as a Game Pass subscriber, I'm gonna play Gotham Knights.
Blizzaga, no, it's gonna kill me. No. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him.
This game stinks. Game
God.
Pass is cool, but I wouldn't rely on it year-round for all things gaming.
no,
Considering how, as I browsed
no.
the lineup, 80% of it looks
I
exactly the
ran
same
for
as
the
5
whole
years
time.
ago.
I don't know how.
And it's free.
Like, I ran the whole time. I didn't stop. How did the Blizzaga land? How did it land? Like, I should have been out of the range. I kept running. What are you talking about? I should have been out of range long before he landed it. Come on. Why did the tiger disappear? The tiger disappeared before he was even dead. He just disappeared of old age. And I lost a run because of it. So annoying. I feel like I didn't really get much off that run. Like, almost at all. Like, I basically just got a death. That was all. God damn it. What's that? Oh, so... Aw, I don't want to be stuck in that place. I've been in that place too much. Where else should I go? I could go to QFIM to the tower and try and climb that, but I mean, I don't know what I'll get up there. Lightning elementals, maybe. I don't know. Gotta go. Oh yeah. Like, now, what is this thing that you want me to do? Okay. I'm standing on the teleporter. Oh god, I don't know where to go. I'll level on Cox, I guess. Fucking annoying.
Unfortunately, as new games get announced to be joining Game Pass, they leave just as fast. But that's not to say this isn't a good service to take advantage of.
It's alright.
New game releases into it that you know you'll play within that month. Just subscribing for those 30 days is an effective way to play select modern titles on the cheap.
Yep.
Just remember to cancel when you're done.
Hey, Scott, Futures got here. You forgot to cancel Game Pass.
Oh my god, is everything okay?
Better than okay. It's not bad. Thanks to Game Pass, I'm flat broke, which means I can't buy into Ubisoft Plus.
I think it goes without saying, but any publisher-specific subscription service, yeah, that's not the smartest move when you're so broke you have to eat the inedible. $18 a month for Ubisoft Plus? That's more expensive than Game Pass. Who cares about Ubisoft
For like 20
exclusively enough to
games?
subscribe to this? Same goes for EA Play, which is already included in an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate membership. And like, what are you getting this by itself for? FIFA 17? Now on the PlayStation side of things, there's PlayStation Plus, which is practically the same as Game Pass. I mean, you don't get as many day one AAA releases as that, but is that really a benefit of Game Pass? Like, think about it this way. If you have Game Pass, you can play these games without having to buy them outright. I wouldn't want to play them to begin with. PlayStation Plus's game catalog has the benefit of PlayStation exclusives being a part of it, and a lot of the same kind of stuff you see in Game Pass, all at a comparable price point, so it depends on which lineup or console you prefer. But my advice remains. Don't take my advice. Subscription services can be used to your benefit if you're on a budget, even in other ways outside of just canceling after a month. You can find all kinds of deals out there from different stores where these memberships are cheaper. My problem comes into play when we consider where all this money is going. Turns out, it's going to gone. This is what I'm talking about when I say these services are about convenience, not value. I spend $10 a month and I get permission to play Gotham Knights. Well, gee. Thank God I didn't waste money on this, I say as I'm spending $200 a year. Or how about I just spend $5 more on a one and done purchase and then I can do whatever the hell I want with this thing. Hell, maybe even sell it for more than I bought it for. You never know, it could happen. My point is, if you're looking to play on the cheap, take advantage of these services when it makes sense to. They offer a ton, but don't depend on them, because if you're not careful, you forget you're subscribed or there's nothing that's interesting to you on them, it is genuinely the equivalent to flushing your money down the toilet. Hey, I may have bought Gotham Knights, but at least I could flush the money down myself. So yeah, under most circumstances, I'd say physical video games are better to nab if you're looking to game on a budget. Speaking of which, I am very fortunate to be based out of Toledo, Ohio. And for my next lie, I have 12 fingers. We have supposedly one of the best zoos in the country. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
King of the jungle, my ass.
Tony Pacos is a big name around these parts. So is Wendy's. And it's nicknamed the Glass City. Wise? That. But regardless of what you may think of Toledo, the fact is we are swimming in used video game stores. Something not many can say about their hometown, so I understand how fortunate I am to be living in Toledo. But I know that isn't the case for everybody, so I'm not telling you, hey, I can pick up clacks after lunch. What's your excuse? Rather, I want to show that buying secondhand games is one of the most effective ways to play on the cheap. And what better way to do that than supporting local business? Like GameStop! You might as well kick things off with the one everybody knows, because if you want used games now, GameStop is probably the best bet for any average person in the US.
Oh my god, Scott, stop being so negative!
GameStop was never incredible, but back in the day, there was at least stuff to look at in here. Now, it's just the blandest, most barren walls of video games I've ever seen, and focusing on just modern titles and geek merchandise on clearance means there's little to discover or explore in a GameStop. But we can damn well try. Basically, I want to spend a clean 100 bones on a game console and a stack of games that I can imagine lasting me quite a long time. Starting with the game console, the cheapest one available is the original Xbox One, damn it. Alright, well there's no point in doing this if I can go on eBay right now and get this same console with games included, as Destiny as they may be, for the price point I limited myself to. I don't want to act like you can't get good games for good prices at GameStop, but it can be pretty situational, and in the case of consoles, we can get these cheaper elsewhere. So let's just focus on spending $100 on games from GameStop for our Xbox One we just bought on eBay for another $100.
For $100 at GameStop, I was able to pick up Rare Replay, The Witcher 3, Madden 20, Immortals Phoenix Rising, Gears of War 4, Grand Theft Auto 5,
Gonna mute it 'cause I gotta
Hasbro
make a
Family
phone call. I'll be
Fun
right
Pack,
back.
Rise Son of Rome, Battlefield 5, Titanfall 2, Just Cause 3, Tales of Arise.
Sorry, I could not get my mic to start. I hit the button like 7 times. I'm so sorry. So, I'm going to call it here. I'm going to say, I have to stop here, guys. I'm terribly sorry. And thank you so much for paying attention to me tonight. I am going to end the video here. And just a reminder, this 9-hour session will be placed on my channel right now, and it'll be on on my YouTube channel over the next day. And thank you so much. What did we do today? I played some Horizon Forbidden West and got to the end of my Horizon phase. I think it was fun, but I don't need any more of the game. I think it was good. And I wrote a negative review, which I feel bad about. I'll probably erase it now, I think. I mean, I don't know. So, that aside, I raced Horizon, yeah. And what else did I play? I played some Mortal 2 and some New World and some Fallout 76 and some EVE Online and some Final Fantasy 11. And I had a lot of fun. It was a great session. Did some crafting on Final Fantasy 11. It was a really good day. So thank you for hanging out with me today. Thank you so much, guys. It was good. Click on the cat's face to donate if you're on YouTube, because I'm not an affiliate of YouTube, or you can click sub to me. I want to say thank you to the person who subbed to me in the last day. Thank you so much for the numbers and everything. I appreciate it, all the support and everything you guys give me. And thank you so much. And I'll catch you later tonight, probably around 10 or 11 p.m. PST. I'll be on to do pretty much the exact same session that I did tonight. A whole bunch of games, except this time no Horizon. I'll probably play something else. I'm just not sure what. Don't know what really. But yeah. And thank you so much for your time. I love you guys. Thank you. And I'm going to pause it here, or I'm going to stop it here.